the industry through the community right into your home. It's the Green Room, and we're on. What's going on, everybody? It's Les from Cannabis Wiki. I am here with the North American Cannabis Flower. That's right, the one, the only Jackie Childs. What's going on, lady?
Hey, Lester. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Green Room.
Welcome to the Green Room, everybody. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm being kind. That's what I'm doing and how I'm doing. Just hanging out, me and my budsy.
Well, that's good. That's good. You know, kindness is the message we always like to spread throughout to each and every single buddy. And, you know, we always like to thank the community for doing their part in helping curve or flatten the curve in this COVID-19. Keep washing your hands, keep respect for the other people out there, and let's do what we have to do to move forward to normalcy.
Is this COVID still a thing? Is this still a thing?
Yes.
Wow.
You're gonna give somebody claustrophobia. You keep doing that, getting all up in the screen.
This is so funny. So are you just about done with your social distancing and not being in the studio and like normal? Do you miss normal?
Yeah, well, of course I miss normal for sure. But it's beyond normal. We got to have a little bit of respect for other people. So because I may be feeling strong and confident and have my strong ideas, somebody may not. So I need to respect the fact that they may not and may be scared and whatnot, believe in the hype of what's going on. So I don't push my narrative too much, just try and be a little bit respectful. So I wear a mask even though I don't believe in them, but I wear it. Makes everybody else happy. I believe in washing my hands and being very cautious of what I do with my hands. So it's not like I don't care about what's going on. I do care. I just practice safer measures. I boost my immune system, probiotics, exercise, vitamins. I'm trying to make my internal self take care of myself and just be more conscious of that and respect other people. So that's how we do.
I saw you eating your yogurt, getting your good bacteria.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They say what's good from the stomach will deliver to the rest of the body goodness. So that is what we believe anyway. So everybody, you do what's good for you.
Who's our guest today, Lester? Who's our guest?
Oh, you know who our guest is today. We always have somebody good and special up. But today it is Ashley Keenan, Ask the Canna Queen, right?
She's an advocate and activist, and she's a writer in the cannabis space. Hi, Ashley.
Hi,
Hello,
guys.
Ashley.
How are you doing?
We're doing good. How are you?
Great.
Thank you for taking the time to come on the Green Room.
Ashley, how has COVID changed what you do in the cannabis space, or hasn't it? It's just allowed for more writing.
In the cannabis space, well, I'd say it gutted budgets. So massive layoffs, lots of job instability, more competition on the market because everybody's freelancing now.
Right.
So, Ashley, tell us who you are. Tell us what you do in the space and
tell us a little bit about
what you bring to the cannabis industry.
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm kind of like a double-sided coin in that I'm a professional and a person in the cannabis space. So I do a lot of writing and digital marketing, social media, that sort of stuff. But I'm also a patient, and that's kind of how I got here and why I am here. So like in 2017, I had a health crisis that took me out of the workforce, the conventional workforce, I call it. And I got really sick and I had to take a step back and like change my career and my values and everything. And medical cannabis helped me get my life back. So now I work in the space promoting education and destigmatizing what the plant means and what it does. And So I think that explains it. Did I hit it?
Yeah, you hit it. That explains it.
I'm really bad at promoting myself or talking about myself.
That's all good. That's all good. So were you into cannabis prior to what happened in 2017?
Just, I would say recreationally. So like I knew and associated with people who always had cannabis on hand. Like it wasn't something, if you went to someone's house, it was there. It wasn't something that was special. Like it was common, and I liked that. And so when I watched legalization happening and that sort of became allowed, I wanted to be part of that world. So I came into cannabis.
I was just going to say, because you said we don't want to pry, but that's what I do. You said you use it for, for health reasons. And can you tell us, like, how on your personal story, how you came to the plant, like how you use it medically and how you use it in your daily life?
100%. So I've been a patient for about 5 years, and I use cannabis daily as a part of I know a lot of people enjoy being pharma free, but I have an autoimmune disease. So like I have to take pills to live. And I find that cannabis helps me regulate the symptoms that pharmaceutical meds can't, like the pain, the fatigue, that cognitive dysfunction. I used to really struggle with those. And cannabis actually helps me stay focused, which I know is a stereotype that it makes you kind of zoned out, but it helps me zone in. And so I take oils, capsules, dried flower. Like I'm an all about holistic plant medicine kind of girl. And in terms of I still have fun with cannabis. That's the thing I love about its multifaceted use. Like it's medicine for me and I have to use it daily, but I can also still use it for fun. Like I have a lot of fun and friends with dab rigs, and we use great quality extracts, and like just being able to use it as a party fun as well as a like daily lifestyle regimen.
So
probably
what would you
go ahead.
Would you say you're more inspired while smoking cannabis or more inspired without smoking cannabis or taking
100%
cannabis?
inspired. 100%. I used to watch writers in movies like get hella drunk, and that was their process. And I used to like side eye them, but now I'm the girl with like a big joint just to get that story written. I help, like I said before, it helps me zone in. So like I look at stories almost deconstructed and whole at the same time. And cannabis helps me use all those moving parts to create something that people enjoy reading.
Okay.
What's the story you're most proud of, or what's an article you're most proud of, or that moved you the most, so that you're really excited to share and be part of?
I have a vaginal suppository story up on Leafly, and that was probably my favorite story that I've ever written. I got to talk to a lot of really cool women and non-binary trans folks who happen to have vaginas about that sort of intake of the plant. Like I personally had never done it at that point, so it wasn't something I was familiar with. And I would talk to Hybrid Farm actually through Jackie and learned a lot more about their uses and how they can help with like period related issues that humans don't necessarily have a lot of treatment for.
Mm-hmm. Right. I love that Ashley just dropped vaginal and suppository in the same sentence.
Oh.
Yeah. Vaginal
Vagina is not a dirty word. I put that in the article.
Well, I'm glad. I hope that was put in capitals, because it definitely is not a dirty word.
So that was the story that you were most proud of and that you were excited to, because also for the people you get to research and talk with to write the story, right? I mean, part of being a writer and doing media, we have to, change the narratives and stereotypes and the stigmas. And that's what you do as a patient advocate and activist and writer. How did you come about writing for Herblife?
Herblife was my very first client who published me, actually. And they published me in their second paper magazine edition. So it was actually in print. And my parents have it. It's super cute. I'm so proud. I reached out to Jill online after seeing the Herblife and what it did to dispel stigma about what it means to be a cannabis user. There's moms, there's professionals, there's everyday people like me. People get that one vision, and there's nothing wrong with that one vision, by the way. I just want people to know that cannabis users are as diverse as anybody else. Anyway, sorry. So Jill gave me that first tip. Yeah. And so now I write for her and a bunch of other people just about that stuff, sort of like compelling fact-based cannabis content that also tells a story. Because I think storytelling is a really important component of that. Like, people want to be able to relate to certain things that they're reading about and feel it on a personal level. But that doesn't mean it has to be fluffy.
Doesn't have to be fluffy?
That's right. There's a stigma that like lifestyle journalism is fluffy, and it's not.
Right. No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Lester, I don't want to cut you off. Every time you shake your head, you go to open your mouth, I just jump right in there. Sorry.
Hey, listen, I don't mind. I do not mind, because we both were talking earlier, and you were telling me how much you wanted to interview Ashley and ask a few questions. So I don't mind sitting back here and riding the ride. Same thing, like with the suppositories. The first time I heard about the suppositories was the first time I had to interview Jackie. And when that information actually came across my desk, I was so self-embarrassed, because I've never actually bring it up on the table. And then after having the interview and then actually diving a little bit more into the information, and found out how helpful it is to somebody with Crohn's. It's crazy. It's crazy that that conversation isn't brought on the table a lot more. So what you do is hugely powerful, hugely. So I would have to ask, what has been one of the toughest things that you've had to write about?
That's a good question.
Like, what about when you write about personal things, when you have to write about yourself? Is that challenging, or is that something you enjoy doing?
Thank you. That helps. So aside from my publications, I do a blog, like askcannaqueen.com, where I tell my stories, like deeply personal stories. And I think that sort of radical vulnerability is really helpful for people struggling. And not everybody can do it. It's difficult, Jackie, as you know, to be like, hey, here's all my issues in plain sight.
Yeah.
And I think there's a great power in doing that helps people in their journey. And if I can help people accept their cannabis use, then I'm okay with the discomfort of opening that vulnerable box.
What about the negative? What about the negative when you share, that you use cannabis and you look a certain way, you look prim and proper and you put together, and is there you get some negative stereotypes or negative feedback about you sharing your cannabis stories?
I am very aware of my privilege, of my ability to use cannabis in public with less judgment than other people. Like, I'm actually, I know I look white as anything, but my mom's biracial, she's Indigenous, and so she looks very Native, and my cousins look a lot more Native traditionally than I do. And I've seen their stigma and how difficult it is for them to use cannabis openly and be like, hey, I remember judging them when I was younger for always stepping out. And there's more stigma and drama around that. And I don't have it when I'm outside usually. So I don't get a lot of negative blowback. Mostly what I get negative feedback on is being sick, which sounds weird. But people are more offended that I accept the fact that I am unhealthy than the fact that I smoke weed.
Right.
Elaborate on that more. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so part of normalizing cannabis and chronic illness for me and what I do is to just show people that it's okay to be sick, it's okay to smoke weed, it's okay to enjoy the two, and not be fighting it. Like, I'm sick, I don't need to fight my illness, I need to work with my body, live my best life, stay healthy, stay mentally healthy, stay physically healthy, and that's okay. And people are like, no, you need to beat your illness, have that determined hustle vibe of if you just keep fighting it, it'll be okay. You'll get magically healthy. Like if you're thin, you won't have any weight problems. Like, or if you lose weight, you won't have any health problems is a very common one. And I don't understand it because I am sick all the time because my immune system doesn't work. Yeah.
Right. Were you going to read something? Were you just going to share something with us? You had something in your hand.
Okay, so I have really, really bad brain fog, and I probably smoked a little too much before 12. I should have spaced it. So I made some notes in case I got exactly like I did when we first started. That like stuttery, anxious Ashley, she comes out sometimes. So I make notes to sort of like help myself stay focused.
That's okay. We try and settle everybody down here.
You guys are really awesome. I'm sad that I don't get to meet you in person and see Jackie's beautiful face. I want to pet your dog so bad. I love Shih Tzus.
I want to pet your dog so bad.
I love dogs. All right, so I'll read this. Yeah, let me read it. So in terms of being like a patient and an advocate, I was writing down that what I told you about that health crisis. I got so sick. I was prescribed the wrong medication from a misdiagnosis, and I ended up in the hospital. And so like my body was shutting down, my kidneys. It was really, really scary. And that like sort of near-death experience really changed my views on what I wanted and what I valued and what I was looking for. Like that career track hustle no longer seemed important to me. So it changed everything. And then I had to rebuild after that, right? And cannabis is what helped me do that. It helped me reduce certain medications that were giving me really bad side effects. Like I still need them, but they're in lower doses that make my life less hard. It also like helped me. I get a lot of anxiety because I'm sick now. So like even just going outside, Jackie, you know it, like where's the nearest bathroom? Like, am I gonna get too tired? And so to manage that anxiety, cannabis actually allows me to like go outside. Anyway, so what I can accept is being sick. I'm okay with that. What I can't accept is a doctor telling me at 33 years old, the best I could hope for was functional. Like I don't accept that. And luckily, with cannabis, I don't have to. I wrote a love letter to Mary Jane recently, and I know it sounds cheesy, but it's like that plant magic sort of just like saved me inside and outside. So hope I'm not being too cheesy. I use that story and that narrative. I use that narrative to normalize cannabis and living with chronic health issues because we're still people. We still produce things that are of value, whether or not we can work full-time jobs or not. And just sort of being like, hey, I'm a cool person. I'm disabled. There's nothing wrong with that.
For sure. Would you have your love letter there?
I don't. It's online. Askcanqueen.com. And do you want me to read it? I can go find it.
I want you to read it to us.
Okay.
Can't you read it?
Yeah, I can do it. Let me find it for us.
We're virtual. We're on the move.
Let it rip.
You can find it while Lester and I chat amongst ourselves. Perfect.
Ready? Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I better watch copyright on that bad boy, right? Somebody come looking for me.
Oh, yeah. You're so right. So you know what? I like that we have the platform or we have the ability to share stories. And like when we first started the green room, we before we got like hitting some corporate sponsors and corporate, we wanted to share stories from in the community and in the industry. We were going to share all aspects. We were going to share patients and events and expos, etc. But we were also going to make sure we spotlighted the patients, the community, the culture. And Ashley's perfect for that.
Just say it like this, Jackie. COVID-19 isn't stopping the green room. Just because all the outside action got irked doesn't mean the green room got irked. And as the world's coming back on, we're going to open our arms up. We're going to open the table up. The door's going to be open. People are going to come back to the studio. We're going to sit down. We're going to chop it up. We're going to smoke some weed, tell some stories. Talk to people.
All right, Ashley, tell us your story, your love letter.
That, to me, that's the part I'm missing most. I'm so excited to be here, but it would have been great to smoke weed with you guys. It's been a while since I got to do it in a group setting. That's what I miss most about cannabis conferences.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. The community, the people connection.
That's
All
it.
right, so
Or it's a
you guys
social.
are putting me on the spot here with a really, really personal letter, but I can read it if you guys want.
We do.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a narrative piece that I did actually as a part of therapy, normalized therapy. And so she asked me to write a letter to cannabis as a plant, as if it was a person. So this is written from that perspective. Dearest Mary Jane, you, my beautiful miracle, have saved my life. Not in the ethereal way people will assume. You saved me rather literally. In 2017, I almost died. And while nobody really noticed, it changed everything for me. That year wasn't all bad. After all, when I lost everything, I found you. I turned to cannabis as a patient in 2016 after hitting a wall with pain management. A genetic disorder causes me chronic pain and fatigue, and while most people can't wrap their heads around functioning in my body, I simply have no other choice. At 33, after a decade of chronic health issues, a doctor told me the best I could hope for was functional, whatever the hell that means. The side effects of conventional treatment were insurmountable. Doctors don't talk nearly enough about the life-debilitating contraindications of some medical treatments. Illness forced me to walk away from everything. I had spent time and thousands of dollars in loans trying to build this magical idea of a better life. I relied on you heavily that year, using cannabis every day alongside my other medications. When life gives you lemons, make infused lemonade, right? Who would have thought that we would have ended up here? Certainly not me. If you told me 10 years ago I would restructure my entire life around marijuana, I would have laughed in your face. You see, I had a lot of misconceptions of you and how you fit into decent people's lives back then. I grew up with opinions like, what kind of adult owns a bong? I have 3 now, and tons of other narratives that come from stigma. I hid you at first, plagued by guilt and shame for needing a drug to function, even though I use my daily pharmaceutical drugs too, and they don't seem to elicit that same shame that you feel in me. So why am I so much harder on myself for needing you? At first, I had feared my dependence was addiction behavior, a placebo effect that I must be gaslighting myself with. After time passed, I needed less and less of my other meds, and with their lower doses came more energy and autonomy over my own health. I see what you did there, you clever girl. It's hard to gaslight myself with all of these affirming results. How do you work this magic? Suddenly I'm able to run again, instead of barely being able to walk. As I learned the science of the human endocannabinoid system and how cannabis works within the body, I understood the profound relief I was feeling from pain wasn't just in my head, and I actually started to believe it. Now I spend my days working in cannabis, advocating for medical patients, and writing educational fact-based content. What I love about you is you're so versatile. Sure, you're still the same plant I shared with my friends down at Swan Lake when I was a teenager, laughing until our faces hurt and being generally young and full of whimsy. But I like to think our relationship is a little deeper now that I rely on you to help treat my exhausting list of conditions. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy overindulging from time to time. For me, you're a much kinder buzz than alcohol, with far less impact on my health. Sure, we still make a great party couple, but most nights we just Netflix and chill. That's the way I like it. I'll conclude this love letter to the formidable Miss Cannabis Sativa with my deepest gratitude. I didn't think my life would turn out like this, but somehow it seems okay. There's still daily physical pain and fatigue, and I'm honestly not sure if I'll ever be able to work a full-time job again. But despite that, you've given me the rest back, the social visits, the energy to get dressed, the work functions, the long walks, the concentration to read a book, the ability to carry on a conversation, like with you two. That's not in there. If I ever get well enough to need you less, I hope that I'll still have a special place in my heart for you. It's not like you see me writing a love letter to my Lyrica prescription. Thank you for holding space for me to learn, grow, and heal. I hope that wasn't
Oh,
too
I
long.
love it. No, it was beautiful.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you for sharing that. It was really beautiful. I love that you shared that.
Serious
I love
inside.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So those are the kind of pieces that are hard for me to put up there.
All right, now we blew up the whole show now.
You lost me now. I can't contain my emotion for your raw authenticity, a story that's, something you wrote as a patient's perspective, and your love for cannabis, and to help end the stereotypes and the stigma.
Right. That's what we like here. That's I don't know. You get speechless each time. We love seeing the insides of people. We really do. What you do, you're writing. It's deep. That's some deep shit right there.
Thank you. That means the world to me.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And thank you for coming on the Green Room. While I contain myself, can you tell us where we can find you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? Tell us about where your website, blog, how we can find you.
Absolutely. So please follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AskCannaQueen. I share there a lot of my personal stories as well as photos and reviews of stuff that cannabis consumers can use. And then AskCannaQueen.com is my blog where you can follow my medical cannabis patient journey. Professionally, if you want me to help you out with great cannabis content for publications or brands, AshleyKeenan.ca is my professional website. And I'm all about helping both businesses and consumers normalize cannabis and reach their audiences.
Great. Thank you. Yay. Oh, she got me emotional, for Christ's sakes.
She flagged the show. She
first time I met you, Jackie?
I don't remember. What?
Okay.
Did I cry
Let
then?
me tell you, okay? So it was at O Cannabis 2019, and you were on a panel, and you got really, really emotional and started crying, but there was nothing up there for you guys. So I went and I grabbed you a napkin and I ran it up to you on stage.
Yeah,
that was me.
I remember. That's right. Oh my God.
That was when I was brand new to cannabis.
Oh, well, thank you for the Kleenex. I could use one now.
I wish I could give you one now.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, and thank you for sharing a patient perspective. We really glad you sat down with us virtually, and we look forward to having you in the studio sometime.
Really real.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you in real life.
Yeah, Lester's pretty cool.
He seems really awesome.
He has to put up with me. Yeah, he has to put up with me after balling, and he never knows what I'm going to say, and I might pop off at any time. When we originally did the Green Room, we started sort of stage notes, like how it was going to be. He was going to be the straight man, like he was going to do the research, and he was going to try and reel me back in, and they were just going to let me be a loose cannon. Say bye to Ashley. Say bye, Ashley. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for stopping in, Ashley. Thank you for sharing that story. That was heavy. That was real good.
I really appreciate that.
Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, you too. Stay safe. Bye, guys.
Bye. See you later. Man.
So that was fun.
That was a stopper right there.
Yeah. It was great, and I like that. I think every so often we need a different perspective and to share, and that why is cannabis where it's at, and why we medical rec, whatever it is. There's all different stories behind that plant, and I'm glad she could join us today. I relate to a lot of stuff. I relate to a lot of, I talk about invisible illness often because, I'm plastic from head to toe. I'm a big mouth. I'm laughing and smiling all the time. We don't talk about the invisible illness and the chronic pain I'm in. And that's how I met Ashley, and we started to share stories with each other through Twitter and Instagram, and started to share stories of women using cannabis, and she writes some phenomenal stories about the stigma and stereotypes around it. So I'm glad she could visit us today.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Like I said, it's just being open, listening to people, respecting each other. Everybody's got a story. This is the cannabis world. When you smoke weed, and all weed smokers know, you get to sit and jam and talk to people. It's a totally social thing, whether you're a patient or whether you're recreational. To sit back and to blaze something, you get to have a little piece of that somebody that you're blazing with.
She also said like she misses that, right? Like she looks forward to the smoking weed with community, and getting ready and going to an event and just getting to smoke some weed with people and talk about stuff. Like, I'm sure we're all missing that. It's coming back. It'll be coming back soon.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I remember passing a spliff. I haven't passed nothing in feels like a donkey's age.
You're a terrible sharer anyway.
What are you talking about?
Remember the very first time I passed you a joint? We've got
oh my.
No.
Well, listen, that wasn't sharing. I was a terrible receiver, you would say. Right?
Yeah. All right, let's close this out. Lester.
For sure, Jackie. Yeah, where Cannabis Talk is always fresh and a little bit
sticky.
Keep it locked to Cannabis Wiki, the green room. Yo, wash your hands. Respect your neighbors.
Don't be a dick. Bye.